Hey guys, what's up? It's Heather with the Moscow, and today we're out creating a new flower bed. Sorry, this is the bucket we use to go get stuff out of our garden, so we gotta go do that too. But I've talked before about how my log cabin in the woods is really in the woods and there's a lot of shade. There's also just not a lot of flower beds here, and we want to create bees. They're all over those flowers. We've got bees on our own nasturtiums, and he's super excited about it. Wyatt's out here today with me helping, but I want to create a garden at the border of the woods here in the shade. So directly in front of me behind the camera is my house, and it looks out onto this wooded area. And I really enjoy the woods. I especially enjoy it in the fall, which is my favorite time of year, when the trees are all different colors. But I would like to have a shade garden border. The owners that lived here before me put a few hostas out, so obviously this is a great idea because more than one person thought of it. But over the next month, I want to take the time to set this border up. I talked about before when I put some stuff in my containers this spring and summer that I wanted it to be shade perennial plants that we can then transplant, and this is the area I want to transplant them to. We've also seen this area before when we moved the lilies that were in the only sun flower bed that I have out to this area. And sorry, it probably makes me look a little green with all this green. We'll try to correct that in post. And I do have my trusty garden shirt on. It feels great out here right now. It's about 10 in the morning. Wanted to get out here a little bit earlier, but my helper here, my co-worker, wasn't into that idea. So what we need to do today is come out here. I've got the backpack leaf blower and blow all the leaves back in the area that we want to be the bed. And it will start on this end and continue through, and I'll go through with the camera and give you a good shot in a minute. And then we need to go through, and I've got the half moon edger and create an edge for the garden bed. So we're gonna start from basically little to nothing and hopefully create a great shade garden. So let's get started. Swing you around. This is the walkway in front of my house. And it starts over there at the driveway and goes all the way. Sorry, I'll try to move slowly. Here. I'm gonna pan down just a little bit. So our grass is here. And we've got some iris and the lilies here. But we need to blow the leaves here and create an edge. And I'll have the edge come out into the grass just a little bit as well. So blow the leaves back and create an edge. You can see that there's some hostas. We want to continue this all the way. Keep going to this tree here. Also wanted to do just a little bit more of an up close view. So as you can see, I've planted a hydrangea here, and I would like to have a whole hedge of hydrangeas. And I actually may need to move that one back some. And we need to put drip in here as well. But you can see it's literally just woods and some hostas that they previously planted. So we're going to clear all this back. It looks pretty much the same all the way across. Here are our lilies that have bloomed and looked gorgeous, but they need to be staked, and that didn't exactly happen. Leftover foliage from the irises. And even though we shouldn't cut it back so it can gain energy, I may go ahead and do that just so we can be cohesive. But we need to remove all this debris and brush the leaves back. reasons I wanted to blow it out first was to see exactly what we were dealing with under here. That was probably 4 or 5 inches deep, thick of leaves. And so I wanted to see what we were dealing with here before I started to cut the beds. Now I want to get my half moon edger out and edge my beds, just to give me some kind of reference, and then I'll go back through the beds and kill any weeds or plants that I don't want, and pick up a lot of rocks because we uncovered a lot of rocks. But before I edge it, let's go through and take a look at what we got. So again, my house is up here. There's this stretch of grass, and we're putting in a border bed here. So directly in front of the house, we've got this border. Most of it is extremely rocky. The dirt doesn't look so great, and there are some plants here that we'll need to either get rid of or possibly move, but we need to cut a border edge here. So what we'll do is cut our border in, and then we'll go back through all this area and either spray these type weeds, pull up, you know, any suckers that we've got, pull those up, and we'll also be pulling up a lot of good sized rocks. For example, over here, sorry, I'll try not to be super shaky. This camera doesn't have image stabilization. For example, right here, it looks like they were trying to put in a border, and as you can see here, this is really dappled shade. I put in this hydrangea last year and it has made it, but I'm probably going to push it back here and make a border of hydrangeas all the way along here. Alrighty, so it's been a couple days since we blew the grass. It rained quite a bit, which is actually great around here because it's a lot easier to get into my dirt once it's wet. So I've been working on my skills and I'm getting pretty close to done, so I want to show you how I'm edging this. Now, if you were trying to make a really professional looking edge that was the permanent edge to your beds, you would take more time to make the valley a little bit better, but right now we're just trying to define the outline. A lot of people will start out by either marking with some spray paint or laying out a garden hose to get the nice curves. I'm eyeballing it and I'm pretty happy with how it's working. I can always touch it up a little bit later. I'm just trying to make sure to err on the side of being close, making the bed not as deep or taking out a little less grass. Y'all know my grass isn't very grassy. It's like weed city around here. Also, it's not very deep. And the ground is very hard, so we're not getting in super deep. But let me show you what I'm doing. So basically my process is that I'm using this to just mark out my line for about 10-15 feet. And then I'm going back in, sticking it straight to the ground, prying it up, and throwing that towards the center of the bed. So let me show you how I'm doing that. I'm just going in with my step edger here. And I'm starting from this angle so that I can see where I'm starting at this angle, stepping in and moving up, because that way I can see kind of like I'm driving. In front of me is a road, that way I can see the line that I'm making here. So now that I've got a line, I can go back in the line till we get finished. I'm usually doing this about 20 minutes at a time. It's a lot of work. And then going inside for a little bit and come back out 20 minutes at a time because it is like 90 degrees and straight 100% humidity around here. So just gonna keep going. All cut in. Forgive the fact that I look like I fell into a pool of sweat. For those of you who live in a climate that's like, oh, it's dry heat. It's not dry heat here. It's straight humid heat. It's like, it's humid. It's real humid. So anyhow, let me take you for a walk around so you can see the edge of this bed. Again, this is what, when I'm in my home, I look out to. My house is placed up on a hill with the driveway coming up, so we do need to keep the middle clear so we can see the driveway, but let's take a look around. My driveway in my vegetable garden. If you come up the driveway, here's my hosta bed and the stairs up to my house. The front of my house is over here. So I have this patch of grass that's on a hill, and then we started this bed here, and we've cut in this edge here. For here. And again, this will mostly be shade. I'm gonna step forward just a little bit. Hopefully we're not gonna get rained on. So if you see here, this bed curves all the way here and comes around the corner. Now I'm gonna pan over so you can see where my house is so you have some reference. So there's the side of my house in the front. Let's pan back down. So again, this will mostly be shade. I'll be transplanting a lot of hostas probably in this area. I've cut it a little wider, especially closer this way and up here, so that we can put some sun-loving things in, because as you guys know, that's a missing in my garden. I'll try to walk slow. So again, coming around directly in front of the house, you can see that we've cut it in here, and this will be a little bit sunnier spot, and we're going to do a hedge of hydrangeas around the back. And to give you some more reference, there's the front of the house, and it comes all the way up around this tree here and curves around. I want a pathway between these two trees as well, and we'll do that bed another year. Let's just take a look down here at some of this. So as you can see, we've got our edge cut in. There's drainage here, so we'll pull all this up and stack some of these rocks that are in here, right here, to more clearly define this area. But there's some sunlight here. This is probably our full sun spot. So we'll move all these hostas, bump this hydrangea back, and continue with our line of hydrangeas over here. But as you can see, this is a very long bed. This is a lot of planting opportunities. And I would say our line is not exactly perfect, but it's given us somewhere to start, somewhere to work with. So you can really see really well here how we've pushed all the leaves back to here, and we'll do a line of hydrangeas, a hydrangea hedge. Again, I don't use any formal garden hedging in my landscape. This is a log cabin. I love that about it. I love being in the woods, so I want things that are a little less formal. So hydrangea hedge, and then filled with ferns, etc. I've also got a Japanese maple that's going to go right here. But this line is now more clearly cut out, and it goes around this tree. Let's go over to this edge right here and look this way. We are from this angle here. So you can clearly see there's never been anything here. We're starting from scratch, and we've got our line cut in. and lots of dappled shade opportunity for planting here. So I probably should have said this earlier in the video, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on here. So when we moved into this house, I loved that it was all wooded and it wasn't very much maintenance. However, I'm craving more garden space. And I was like, well, I only have these beds next to my house, I'll start there. But that's just not quite getting it done for me. So we have all this land, just not cultivated. And I've never started from scratch, but I figure if I go out here and I just start tackling some things, the more that I work on it, the more tidy it will become, the more cohesive it will become. So I'm hoping that this, in showing you this process, you know, everybody's situation is going to be a little different. Maybe you've just got some grass that you want to cut some beds out in. Maybe you have complete woods like I have. Whatever the case may be, hopefully this just gives you the opportunity to say, I'm just going to start working and see where it gets me. Working a little bit at a time each day. I have small children. I work more than full-time hours. So I just come out here and work for 30 minutes a day or 30 minutes when I have a chance, whenever, and just start chipping away at these things. And eventually we're going to have that garden that we love. And the process really is the fun part, other than the fact that I'm dripping sweat. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is going to be a series. I will try to link it as a series. And as we get more videos, we'll link them. What's happening here? My hair is waving at you guys. We will try to link them in the description below. But just to see how this comes together from nothing to finished or to in progress always. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Hopefully you guys are not nearly as hot as I am watching this. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.